to the bonus level.
Hello again, and welcome back to the Bonus Level Podcast. This is level 47, and I'm Jack, and joined with me is my co-host, Joshua.
What's up?
We are back after what feels like the longest hiatus of all time. The last episode, level 46, we got stuck on for seemingly 6 months, maybe even longer than that. It was October when we completed level 46. And we talked about Star Wars because I think The Mandalorian was coming out, right? Is that what we talked about that?
Probably so.
I can't even remember, honestly. That's the only Star Wars related thing that I can remember.
No, because the newest Star Wars movie came out in December.
Right.
So I think that's what we were hyping up about too.
I think we were hyping up that, but I think we were also like about to... Did we not talk about The Mandalorian coming out?
Probably did. Next week? I mean, I'm sure we talked about both.
I think that was like the whole thing. Anyways, long story short, a lot has happened since then. And, we wanted to bring back the podcast for a long time, but really just life is obviously getting in the way. Everybody out there knows. I guess most people should. If you don't, then... Well, I don't know. Maybe you live on an island somewhere and the only thing you listen to is the Bonus Level Podcast and you've been waiting 7 months for an update. Yeah. And here it is. But not only has, a lot happened outside in the world, but a lot has happened with us too. Our podcast is now down to 2 members. So for anybody that only was subscribed for the witty humor and jovial laughs of Luch. He's no longer with us. It's super funny because before we started, we were like, we should say that he, passed on due to coronavirus and get a bunch of sympathy. That's not what happened. But life happened, and he's no longer on the show. But that's not neither here nor there. We wish him all the best as far as that goes, and we will definitely miss his laughs going forward. So. To kind of get into what's going on with us before we even deal with, what life looks like now for us, why don't you tell everybody what's happened to you in the past 7 months? So much stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start. I mean, I guess the biggest news, and we'll kind of go over it quick because I'm not wanting to, put too much weight on the whole podcast or anything, but my oldest son was diagnosed with leukemia right before New Year's. It was like right after Christmas. Started noticing he was bruising really, really bad and starting to get nosebleeds more. And he'd always gotten like nosebleeds and stuff like that during winter time, just because of the cold, dry air and everything. But it was getting like worse and worse. So we took him to the hospital and they said he had leukemia. And so basically since that time, we've been on treatment plans that change either most of the time, like month to month kind of treatment plans where it's like this month you're going to be taking these pills on these days and these pills on these days and have to come to the clinic, here and there. And then they kind of assess you at the end of that month. And then the next month they kind of adjust the plan based on how everything went for the first month. So that's been a big portion of my life since December, to say the least.
But that's, I mean, and that not only just obviously is super heavy and, the good news is though, is he's doing well, right? Like
he's doing very well. Like the weirdest thing, when explaining it is the fact that like when the doctors were talking to us about everything, that they said like, we're not trying to downplay this or anything, but like, out of any kind of cancer that he could get, they're like, this is one of the most mild forms. They're like, the treatment for it, you're still looking at 2.5 years of treatment where he'll have to get chemo on, like right now he's hooked up to a bag of chemo 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next 28 days. once it kind of progresses along, we'll go into the clinic here and there, like once a week or something, or every other week, and just have to get an IV of, chemo or something like that. But the success rates of it are tremendously high because there's not an actual tumor with it. There's no radiation treatment that he has to do. So, it's been really, really good so far. Like as far as like the horrors of hearing your kid has cancer, like we got kind of one of the most mild cases of it,
Sure.
luckily.
Which is super. I mean, obviously, there's always blessings, right, everywhere that you can kind of like look at. But and it's as like I said, as heavy as that is, it's really good that he's doing well.
Yeah.
But it also changed a lot of other things for you too, like just your routine. Having him not in school and all of that stuff. Like, so everything changed for you guys on a daily basis way before this whole coronavirus thing happened, right? And like,
oh yeah, because one of the things when kids are going through chemotherapy, what will happen is they're like, in order for the medicine to work to be able to fight the cancer cells in the body, what they have to do is they have to shrink the child's immune system. I don't know all the full science behind it. I have learned so much over the past few months, but basically they're weakening his immune system to be able to fight the cancer, and then they'll work on bringing his immune system back up is kind of the process that they talked about. So basically him being a 10-year-old kid and in fourth grade, having zero immune system and sending him to elementary school was kind of out of the question, especially if we were going, 2 or 3 times a week to the clinic. So we had to get, we contacted the school, and they basically have teachers that specialize in this kind of thing. When kids aren't able to go to school for a while, they send them to your house like once or twice a week. So he has basically been, I mean, not like full on quarantined, but pretty much. Like he doesn't go anywhere other than like the house or the clinic. There's just no reason for him to go anywhere else. Like, I mean, there's times that, we wanted to maybe go to the movie theater and go see a movie, and we just were like, I don't think that's best. Let's go ahead and buy some treats. We'll do a fun movie night at the house, and make it just as fun as going to the movies.
Yeah. So you guys were already like you were just getting the quarantine practice before everything started.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we were starting quarantine basically back in December.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And I mean, as far as like that goes, so that's obviously a huge thing that you guys have been dealing with. And again, like super happy that he's doing well.
Yeah.
And obviously, of course, he's going to continue to get better. But I mean, anything else as far as like work goes, before we were doing episodes every week, which again, we will be back to hopefully, weekly episodes for people that are curious on what our new schedule timeline is going to look etc. We've definitely missed having these conversations. We want to have a lot more guests. We want to be a lot more, like, I really like our kind of our conversations around, I know I've always been like super controversial as far as like our conversational topics. Mm-hmm. So I want to explore more things like that. Some of our most favorite episodes, like in the past few seasons of the show, were around things like that. Guns and the Chinese social credit system, and just things like that are definitely,
we have so much to talk about. I mean, there's so much going on this year, and so many different issues that are hugely like polarizing,
For sure.
Like,
you're going to take big sides on one or the other. I'm a fan of conspiracy theories and things like that. So definitely a lot to talk about going forward. We're going to have episodes every single week, hopefully, different guests, etc. I have some people that want to be on the show. So it's going to be pretty cool. As far as I am concerned, the past 7 months have been nuts for me too. Nothing crazy on the scale of, what you were dealing with as far as like family, but, I was in the ER at the end of the year. I had an accident, almost lost half my face. Not quite that serious, but it was pretty bad. I lost 2 separate jobs since now and then. One was due to coronavirus. The other one was due to hashtag Me Too. But we'll talk about that in another episode, I think.
Yeah.
Won't get into details with that. But yeah, just a lot of crazy stuff. And then obviously now, we've been quarantined in our houses for how many days? I mean, it's what? We passed the 60-day mark yet?
I don't even remember. I mean, like I said, I've been doing it for so long that I remember like getting the news alerts and seeing like the take shelter dates and stuff. But I mean, I think those
I want
were,
to say
I know exactly, because
it's
I
in
had
March, right?
tickets. I had tickets to box seats at my favorite soccer team's soccer game on a
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
and Friday they canceled it.
I want to
They
say that was
said
March 15th.
it was the 14th, I think, was the
14th. Okay.
game. And so I think it was the 13th here in Georgia that they were like, everyone's on lockdown. And I was like, I got tickets to the game. They're like, doesn't matter, game's not happening. And it was devastating.
So not quite 60 days. So we're approaching it though. We're getting towards the 60 days, like since we've been inside. And I know it's not the same in every state, but this is something that and obviously in different places it's way worse. I know where I'm at, it honestly, numbers wise, statistics wise, it hasn't been that serious. It hasn't got that serious. I'm not saying that it isn't serious. Obviously, for the people that are affected, it's obviously super serious.
Yeah.
And just the general situation is serious as it is. But if you're looking at overall numbers, right, it's not as scary in some places as it is in others. Like New York, etc. So, looking at the actual numbers of it, it's been since around, like you're saying, around March 14th, 15th, since we've been kind of ordered to shelter in place. Down here, beaches are closed, and beaches took a while to close, but they eventually did close.
Yeah.
And, all of that stuff kind of just slowly going. And some people are more familiar with, not going out, right? Like they don't go too many places. They go to the grocery store, et cetera, go home other than work. But, it changed the way that everybody kind of operates on a daily basis, even if you're not an extrovert, right? Even if you're not somebody that like craves to get in your car and go somewhere every single day, it still has changed the way that you interact with other people. Because so say you're a person that stays at home, right? And you don't like to go out anyway. Well, now all of the people that do go out are now at home as well. So you're interacting with them, and the way that you are interacting with them is completely different, because now you're talking to people at 11 a.m. that you wouldn't talk to because they're at work or they're out doing this or that. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what kind of person you are, the way that you communicate in your daily life looks a little different now, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's obviously it's unprecedented. So in our lifetime, we've never had anything like this happen.
No.
We've never seen anything like this. And the biggest question that comes from this whole thing. So before I even go to that, before I go to the question that I have for this pandemic that we're dealing with, let's talk about the stats, right? So whether or not you believe that this is X, Y, or Z, right? It doesn't matter. We're gonna talk about the coronavirus as if it is truthful, actual, like the numbers that are out there are real. So we're gonna save all of the conspiracy stuff for another time, right? We're gonna talk about the numbers as if this is all accurate, the reported accurate, and it wasn't a government setup from the beginning. Okay,
gotcha.
So right now, the reported cases are over 3.6 million worldwide. Okay, we have over 1.1 million recovered from it, and we have 250,000 plus deaths from it.
Okay. Where are you getting your sources?
Okay, so this is all from Google.
Gotcha.
If you actually look up coronavirus stats on Google, it actually has the charts and the maps and the statistics all like right there.
Perfect.
The United States has 1.2 million cases, 160,000 plus recovered, and 71,000 deaths, with 877 deaths yesterday. And just to put it into a state perspective, in Florida, 36,000, almost 37,000 reported cases, and 1,400 deaths. So that's breaking it down from worldwide down to U.S. down to state level. Now, again, whether you believe how it was created doesn't matter. These are the stats that we're looking at, right? So my question with all of this is, in your opinion, what would it have taken to be more prepared for this? Like, so obviously, like we said, in yours and mine, in our lifetime, we haven't seen anything like this. In Florida, we see hurricanes every year, so like we know about disaster preparation. But despite that, every single year, you still have people running out and buying up all the water, buying up all the toilet paper, buying up all the canned goods like the week before the hurricane hits. Every year, like nobody's prepared, right? So what would it take to be prepared for something like this, a virus, a viral pandemic on a global scale that we've now seen nobody was prepared for, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the weirdest part about it is it's like it's hard to even wrap your mind around it. Like if you had taught us about you know, contagious disease shutting down the entire world for a couple of months, you know, back at the beginning of the year, we'd be like, that's insane. Like that would be super terrifying. And we're living through it, and it's not really that terrifying, but it's still affecting all of us, you know? And it's maybe just because we haven't had anyone really close to us get it or anything. But I mean, like, and even with Kaysen, you know, we're trying to be extra careful with him, and, you know, basically we're having to double quarantine and make sure that we're being smart about all of his stuff. It's still like, and I don't think I ever was really terrified of things where, you know, if you were told, hey, there's going to be a disease coming that's going to shut down the world, I mean, it sounds so astronomical. And so it's like, it's hard to really wrap your mind around it because it is such a big thing. But I mean, and you can kind of watch when everything happened that there were kind of waves with everything where it was like, we first heard about it and it was kind of downplayed a little bit. And it was just like, I mean, because things pop up all the time. Like you watch world news and things happen in China or Russia or Iraq or Africa, whatever. You hear about things there and you're so far away from them that you kind of, it just doesn't hit you the same way. And I think that's how it was. Like I started paying attention to the coronavirus back when it was in Wuhan, just because there was some new Contagion documentary or whatever that Netflix had that was talking about Ebola and stuff like that. So I was watching that. It kind of piqued my interest. So then when I heard about coronavirus, I started paying attention to that. So like, I think I caught on a little bit earlier that it was going to be kind of serious, but then at the same time, it was still over there. It hadn't breached our soil. And so I think like in the beginning, it kind of got downplayed because it was over there. Then all of a sudden, when it comes over here, you have your initial line of people freaking out and panic buying and then kind of realizing like it was so early on in it coming over here with like less than 100 cases of it. The chances of you bumping into that person that has it is so astronomically small, you know, unless you lived in a state where there was like big international hubs and stuff like that, chances were you weren't going to get it. So then there was the pushback the other way where it was like, okay, you have all these panic buyers. Then you have everyone going, oh, it's a hoax. Like it's nothing to worry about. Flu kills more people. And it's like, well, can we meet in the middle here? Meet in the middle and realize that it is serious, but at the same time, don't need to panic and go looting or buying out toilet paper and stuff. Like there's that kind of middle road, you know, that I think, and I think, you know, your question was, you know, how to be better prepared for that. I think the best way would have been better information in the beginning. Because like I said, you have half the people panicking and going, buying everything that they can, and other half of people going like, oh, there's only like 5 cases. This is nothing. I'm going to continue on about my business. Like there's nothing wrong, and,
Right.
or whatever. And it's because I don't think that it was addressed as cleanly as what it could have been, that, hey, this is a serious disease, this is what's going to be happening. This is what we're looking at. And I think, in some ways that they tried to do that at the beginning, but of course there's so many different news sources covering things that you're going to get different sides of the story. Then you also have different, we were learning as this was happening.
Sure.
So, like in the beginning, they were saying like, I don't think, masks are going to really help us from this or whatever. It doesn't seem to be transmitting that way. Till like a month later, they're like, all right, everyone needs to wear a mask ASAP. It's like,
Right,
wait,
yeah.
didn't you just say that? Like that kind of information being cleaned up in the beginning, I think could have helped a lot.
Okay, so but I don't know, and that's kind of where you and I take different positions on a lot of things. I think because so I'm always of the the school of thought that people are just stupid in general, right? Like the mass of people just they're going to do the wrong thing, they're going to make the wrong choice, just in general. And unfortunately, we see this. I see this here in Florida every single year, where a hurricane's coming, and 80% of the states like, oh crap, we don't have water, we don't have distilled water, we don't have flashlights, batteries, we don't have canned food, and it's like you live in a state where natural disasters happen so often that you have a season for it. You literally have hurricane season, where from this date to this date, hurricanes happen. They're likely, they're going to happen. And yet every single year you have people go, oh, what? Hurricane's coming? I don't have water. I don't have toilet paper. So if that's the case, if you can live in a place where you literally have a designated time frame where you should be prepared for something and you still aren't prepared, how do you expect the masses of people worldwide in all types of climates, all types of environments, economical status, right? How do you prepare for something like this? Or is it just a case of you can't really prepare for it? You have to react to it and then take the right procedures when it does happen. So, and that's kind of where like I fall into, because I really don't think you can prepare for something like this. Like, I really don't. I mean, aside from having stuff in your house where you can, as soon as the hint of this goes up, you can just lock it down and you can just be self-sufficient outside of your house, inside your home without leaving, so you could ride it out. I mean, outside of that, which again, that's just not realistic in a lot of cases. Like, it's just not. Like, you can't. You have to go outside. You have to go to work, right? Like I was in a job before I got laid off because of the whole thing. I was in a job where I was an essential employee, right?
Yeah.
I had to go to work. I had to go. I had to be there. If I didn't have income. If you don't have income, you can't pay bills. Guess what doesn't stop? The bills.
Yeah. Whether
you're working or not working, the electric company and the water company and the mortgage company, they all want their money no matter what. So you come to a kind of a crossroads where it's like you have to be prepared, but you can only be prepared up to a point, right? And then after that, it's like, well, we have to react to it as it comes. And in a case like this, I just think that because it was of such a slow burn, it wasn't like we always see zombie apocalypse, XYZ. As soon as it happens, like as soon as the first one gets out and the infection starts, that's
you wake up the next day and the city's on fire, and
like the whole world is just like there's zombies everywhere. Like everybody's getting bit and everybody's infected. Whereas this was like, it was such a slow burn as it literally started to spread, right?
Yeah.
And it's like slowly gaining traction. If you've ever played the game, the Plague Incorporated, you've ever played that? It's an awesome game. It was an App Store game. I think there's a different version on Google Play, but on the
Mhm.
Apple Play or the Apple Store, the App Store, it's called Plague Incorporated. You create a virus, you evolve the virus, you make it, travel from country to country, etc. You don't want it to
Mhm.
spread too fast, because the faster it spreads, the faster the governments catch on and they start working on a vaccine.
Yeah.
But you don't want to spread it too slow, because obviously if it's too slow, it's not going to be fatal. You're just not going to be contagious. So it's
Yeah.
like a fine line between those two. This is like the perfect storm. You have a very slow burn. You have it kind of spreading. It's spreading rapidly, but it's spreading kind of under the radar at first, until there's just so many people traveling between countries, borders, that like all of a sudden, you have one person that has it that's in contact with 40, which then turns to 400 to 4,000 to 40,000. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's how that works. Um, and because of that, we just kind of let it happen, right? And I think the only way that changes is if, as soon as it's kind of a threat and it's a viable threat, and we know that, look, this is super serious, it's fatal, it has a certain fatality rate,
Mhm.
for the immune compromised, whatever it might be, that the lockdown, the stay at home procedures go into effect immediately everywhere, and not by state to state, right?
Yeah.
Because we saw that, like, after even New York and like some of the hot zones were locked down, we still have people in Florida on spring break, like piling
Yeah.
on top of each other at the beaches. You know what I mean? Like, there's a
Yeah.
pandemic going around global, and people are like, I'm still on spring break, I'm not wasting my vacation. Like,
Yeah.
and then those people are all together, and then they go back to their separate places in the country, and they just take it with them, right? You can
Mhm.
literally see, if you had their, like, the viral the tracers on them, like, has it just spider webs and spreads all over the country from where they were kind of all congregated. And
Yeah.
that's unfortunate, but that's the way it happens, right? Like, because people have kind of a dumbed down general view of everything, like you said, we don't have that meat in the middle. You have the people that are panic buying. You have the people
Mhm.
that are just going crazy. Just, they think that they need 17 rolls of toilet paper, despite the virus having nothing to do with your bowel system,
I know,
right?
that's where I feel like there was, like, that issue with communication, like, what set people off, like, on going down that road? Like, I think that people were just panicking, they're like, "I need to go to the store and I need to get something." Like, I know that we didn't know what it was gonna be like when everything hit, like, when they first did quarantine, like, I didn't know what was gonna happen with things like grocery stores. I didn't know, did I need to stock up on food? Or, I mean, I have a Kroger 3 minutes from my house.
Right.
It's remained open this whole time. They've done really good with all their procedures, cleaning all the shopping carts and everything before you come in, the glass between. So, like, they did such a good job with that I think if people, you know, knew a little bit earlier on, if it was at all possible, like, here's the procedures we're going to take. There's a pandemic coming through. Your essentials are going to be provided for you. Like, these kind of things, they're going to be open. We just need to be safe and think about this stuff. You wouldn't have anyone panic buying. Like, I think people
Yeah.
were only panic buying because they weren't sure what was going to happen to the store. Like, we didn't know if this was going to get bad enough. And all of a sudden, you have Kroger close. It's like, okay, like, I only have this much amount of food. Like, what do I do? Do I go hunting and fishing in my backyard? Do they just give everyone a hunting license and say, like, go to town? Like, d-
Can
you
you
know,
imagine?
could that
Can you
happen?
imagine that? Like, honestly, for a second, could you imagine just being like, all right, grocery stores are no longer going to be supplied with food. It's everybody. It's like every man for himself. The 0 to 60 from calm society,
Yeah.
like slightly panicked, to like overall like nightmare would be so fast. Like, as soon as they were like, yeah, nobody's getting any more food, blah blah blah. The water and electricity is going to remain on until, like, it runs out of natural resources, whatever. Like, it would be pandemonium
Yeah.
instantaneously. You'd be like, you'd have people like shooting all sorts of things, trying to kill all sorts of things for food.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people do you know have gardens?
I don't know anybody,
Right. Okay. Neither
but
do I.
I know my parents do. So that's one.
Wait, your parents know somebody, or your
No, my
parents have
parents
one?
have a garden.
Well, I mean, what I mean is a garden with fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
Okay, so your
They like
parents
have
kind
a
of
full on garden.
okay.
Not
Okay.
like, I mean, they're not a farm, but
No, no, no.
it's a garden.
But they like grow tomatoes, cucumbers, things like that, right?
We have pear trees, peach
Okay.
trees, fig trees, blueberry bushes. Um, then, of course, all your different vegetables, tomatoes and
Sure.
lettuces and
So you
onions and
guys
all that.
actually would be kind of self-sufficient for a little
Not
bit,
too bad. Not too
but
bad.
but
Especially
all of
after
the
adding in my chickies.
yeah, and all of those things though have seasons though, right? So like
Hmm.
it's pear trees, blueberry bush, they're not going to bloom all year.
Oh, yeah. They're not in
And
season right now. We're not getting anything.
right.
But
So
hopefully, here within the next month or so, we'll start seeing some stuff.
but even with that though, so now you guys have a specific risk that you have to protect
Hmm.
because heaven help you guys if anybody else realizes that you have a garden
Yeah.
because now you have something that everybody else needs and wants. So now not only are you sheltering, trying to stay alive, but now you also have to protect your own assets, right? So the amount of pandemonium that would happen, right? If it just shut down all of our food supply, it would be crazy. I'm lucky enough to live near the ocean. I would literally just go fishing, right? I could just go fishing anytime I wanted, catch fish. And to be honest with you, I'd probably just steal a boat and end up in the Gulf of Mexico somewhere until the whole thing ended. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I probably what I would do.
Yeah. I like it.
Even if you run out of gas, you're still like you're in a boat, like you're safe, you're good. Like you can just
Hmm.
fish. I mean, so yeah, you got to filter the water, but like whatever, like make it happen. If you have to go, just have to go ashore, you do. But you have the opposite people, right? So we were just talking about the craze, got a hoard, got to go get all the toilet paper. But then the opposite of that are, like you said, the people that are calling it a hoax, that people that aren't taking it seriously. You got people that are going into stores. I just read it today. A guy was arrested in a Dollar General for wiping his nose on an employee's shirt because the employee said he needed to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? You're not only are you being disrespectful and being out in public without a mask on, right?
Mm.
But then you're going to go so far as to be like, yeah, this thing is not real. Watch me wipe my snot on your shirt. First of all, you can get shot in certain places for doing something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, that's disgusting no matter if you have a cold, a coronavirus,
That would have been
or anything.
disgusting no matter what year or
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah. And then like how like on top of all of that, how are you that kind of person that in the climate that we're in thinks that it's okay to do that?
Yeah.
Right. So you have those people that are on the other side. They just are so far removed. They can't even fathom the fact that they could be a risk to other people or they could put other people's lives in danger.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think there is a common ground to be met. And unfortunately, it will always end up in these situations in a preserved self over everything else. Like the ideal thing is to, okay, this is what we're facing. We all work together. Whenever this all first came like into the news, people talked about, okay, maybe this will bring the world together. We can all have a common cause. We can unite together and fight off something that's it doesn't care what race or religion or ethnicity that you are, where you're from. It infects and kills without bias, right? So we're looking at it, oh, maybe this is the way to unite the world. And what happens? Not that. I'll tell you that right now. That's not what happens.
Yeah.
Because you still have the division of the hoarder only cares about themselves in that way, right? Mm-hmm. You have the only cares about themselves in the way of they don't believe it. They're irreverent. They're disrespectful. And then you have the people that are meeting in the middle ground, right? That suffer from both sides. So the rational people, somebody like you, somebody like me, that isn't going to go out and buy 17 rolls of toilet paper, isn't going to stock up on 6 cases of water at a time, right? But we're also not going to just walk around like it's no big deal. I'm going to wear a mask to the grocery store. I'm going to stay away from people, right? I'm going to obey
Yeah.
the laws. I'm going to work if I have to, but stay away from it. For the month and a half or so that I was dealing with the public, like I was wearing gloves. I was swapping the gloves out in between customers. I was spraying things down, disinfecting. Like
Nice.
you're just taking the proper procedures, even if it's not that serious where you are. You just do it for you and for the person that's coming in. You just maintaining the proper procedure. However, you're dealing with the irreverence from both sides. So when you need to go to the grocery store and get food because you only bought one steak last week and you need one for this week, guess what? No steak. Why? Because the guys that are hoarding it, they bought it all, right? So now there's none for you. And on top of that, you're there risking your life while you're there because the guys that are irreverent and could care less are walking up and down the aisles, sneezing, coughing, not wearing a mask, and rubbing their noses on you, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
Licking products.
yeah, either way you go, right? You have one side or the other, the two extremes that affect the rest of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And there is no, I mean, there's common ground, but it's just never going to happen. And I just don't see, honestly, I don't know, maybe I'm pessimistic, but I don't see anything that unites humanity to a common cause if we can't face down a non like entity threat, like a viral. If we can't face down a viral threat where the rules of engagement are very, very simple: do not get near people, do not sneeze on people, do not cough people, do not touch people, maintain distance. You won't get the virus. It's that simple. And yet we're still under lockdown. We have over almost 4 million cases worldwide. It's still growing. You had 877 deaths just yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? What is going to bring everybody together if something like this, where we literally have everything it takes to not catch it, and the infection still grows daily? Like, people are still getting infected.
Yeah. Well, my state, I don't know if you know, we are no longer under quarantine. Our governor said,
as of today, right?
Be smart. No, it was actually Friday. Most things opened. I know hair salons opened last Friday, so did tattoo parlors and stuff, and bowling alleys. And then I think yesterday was supposed to be the bigger release of pretty much everything. I think the only thing that's not are I think some government offices aren't open and bars are remaining closed at the moment, like nightclubs and stuff like that. So do you think that we're on the downtrend of things and we've weathered the worst and, we're going to get through all this stuff okay? Or
well,
where do you see it going from here?
Here's the thing, though. This is like super important for this specific case, but also for if you just look in like, and you don't want to take movies and things like that, TV shows, that serious. So you take it with a grain of salt, but you see trends, right? And just statistically with trends. So yesterday, there was 819 new cases in the United States. Okay, so that was just yesterday. The day before, there was 615.
Wait, no, hold on. How many?
There were yesterday there was 819 new cases. Wait, no, that's in Florida. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say that seems small because I thought
sorry,
like Georgia had more than that.
Yeah, sorry. That's in Florida. So yesterday in Florida there was 800 cases. The day before that there was 600. But in the United States, over the past 3 days, the cases per day have gone down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of places just reopened today.
Yeah.
Okay? So the 5th. So the real telltale thing is, once everybody's kind of like going back out into places are reopening, stores are reopening, people are going to try to maintain that 6 feet, the 6 foot distance, etc., social distancing. They're going to be washing their hands more. There's going to be, in general, more aware. Probably people are still going to be wearing masks for a while. that's all well and good. However, the second you say, okay, it's quarantine's over, like it's going to spike again. The bottom line is that there's going to be way too many people going back into the world, mingling with each other way too fast. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would be willing to bet that we've seen a decline in new cases over the past 3 days, but over the next week, I would guess that there's going to be a spike, and it's probably going to be a spike of significance where they either reinstate partial lockdown, not close businesses, but reinstate a partial, like whatever is curfew or max capacity or whatever they might. I'm not sure of all the stipulations between state to state, but as everything starts opening back up again, I think we're going to see a spike of it going back up. Whether or not ultimately it's just going to be like a temporary, a shock spike because everybody's like just back out and together so fast and so close to each other. That remains to be seen, obviously. But I wouldn't be surprised if this, what they call like the second wave, isn't significant, isn't like, if we don't see a pretty big spike. More importantly, no, I guess it's not really more importantly, but on another side note, though, states and jobs, and there's just so much that's going to change. And I kind of wanted to like transition into that too, because, life going forward, even after quarantine is lifted, even after the stay at home orders are lifted, etc., life isn't going to look the same, at least for a while, right?
For a while, I would.
There's so many businesses that have either gone under or had to lay off a ton of people, or just in general, like traffic is going to spike initially, right? Like I said, as everybody goes back out, they're going to be like, we're free, we can go back out. But then I really honestly think that because we've been forced to do so much at home and from home, that this is going to force like retailers and in-person stores to completely change up the way that they do business. Oh, yeah. Because so many people that weren't familiar with ordering online, shopping online, being self-sufficient with delivery, all of this stuff, they now learned and they know how to do it and they're comfortable with it. So like a person that would normally go down the street to a specialty shop to get something learned how to do it from Amazon or learned how to do it from a website. Over the past like 60 days, right? And because of that, they're more likely to do that next time that they have to. Why? Because it's more convenient and they don't have to be around people during this like transitional period of is it safe? Is it not safe? Can we go outside? Can we be around people, right? Like it's going to be a while before people feel comfortable. Well, the smart people feel comfortable being near people again, like being near strangers, shaking strangers' hands, right? You're going to see a ton more of people still wearing masks for a while, carrying hand sanitizer, washing their hands. People are going to wash their hands for the next 6 months, like easy. Like they're just going to be washing their hands all the time.
I would think
because it's present in their mind. And then after that, it'll fade back and they'll just kind of go about their day because you do need to have an immune system. It needs to be built up, etc. But the impact of the stay-at-home order and the quarantine in general is going to have a long-lasting trail of side effects. After we're back to work, well after the country is open, well after the world's open again, as far as what's considered quarantine versus not. And honestly, your question was, well, are we going to be okay? It's like, yeah, of course. This would have had to have been. The severity of the disease or the virus would have had to have been much more fatal in order for it to be something that was like population threatening.
Yeah.
There is no I'm not taking any amount of loss of life lightly. Don't get me wrong. Numbers wise, because if it affects you, like if it affects your family member, it doesn't matter the statistics. It doesn't matter the chances of the odds. Like it doesn't matter if I have 1 in a million chance. We always talked about this. I know I've always talked about this with the odds, and we had the one episode of odds and stuff. It doesn't matter if it's 1 in a million, right? if it happens to you, it was 1 out of 1, right? It was either,
Yeah.
or not 1 out of 1, but 1 out of 2. It was either, it either did or it didn't, right? And it did to you. So it doesn't matter the other statistics. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. But it would have had to have had a lot higher fatality rate or mortality rate for it to be like global population threatening.
Yeah.
And regardless of how long this quarantine gets extended, people, again, they're trying to open things back up and get the economy going again. In most places, honestly, I think they're just trying to do that so they don't have to pay unemployment. So that's completely honest to
Yeah.
me. I just think that's what they're doing. But
That's what I kind of felt like.
yeah, in Florida, I think they've only paid 46% of the unemployment cases so far
Yeah.
since this whole thing has started, which is so far lower than like where it should be, first of all, but then other states. It's
Well,
crazy.
because you're 60 days in, and it's like that's
Yeah,
60 days without a paycheck.
right. And on top of that, like, so other states are running out of their unemployment money, like, because like obviously it's state funded, so
Yeah.
unemployment is coming from the state. Florida was still collecting, so much so that they actually went up in their surplus
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of the quarantine. So like
Yeah.
while other states were starting to run out, Florida was still collecting it in. Like they were still like it was still going up because they weren't paying it out. So
Wow.
I guess that's a benefit though, which means that the people that should get it now
Yeah, they'll get it
longer.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Hopefully
is
they're
fine.
still in their house and haven't been kicked out on the streets and had to
Right.
steal for food or anything like that.
Which then that's another morality question. If you have to steal for food to provide your family, is that a moral question? Maybe a question for a different episode, though. I don't know.
Yeah. Um,
It's a
yeah,
moral
that'll
question.
definitely that would be a fun one. I would like to get into that kind of thing because it's like everything. There's always that gray area where it's like, like you said, if you go fishing but you don't have a license, but you can't get your license because the government office is shut down, like are
What do
you
you do?
really breaking the law? Like, or if you're stealing, where are you stealing from? Or what do you do? Like, yeah, there's so much there. So what are you doing to to prepare yourself for the apocalypse? What kind of doomsday prepping have you done?
So that's the thing, right? I live in Florida, and the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that I have that I am prepared for is to defend my home in a hail of bullets. Um,
I like it.
uh, but no, as far as like food goes, I mean, I just I don't really understand the whole like hoarding, stocking in the United States. There are so many stores and so many places to get food, canned goods, et cetera, that even up until the day a hurricane hits, you can still find things. Like you can
Yeah.
find food and supplies. It's just like it just depends on where you go and where you look. Like there's a hardware store down the street that I guarantee you nobody is going to like line up in the parking lot, right, to buy
Yeah.
stuff from because most people don't even know it's there. They're down at Publix, they're down, at the gas station, etc.
Yeah.
I can go down to the hardware store and buy 6 flashlights and batteries, and I'll be the only person in the store, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as like actually preparing, yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I have a couple cases of distilled water in case
Mm-hmm.
like you need something like that. I always keep an extra case of spring water, like purified water for drinking. But besides that, I mean, not really much. I mean,
Yeah.
I have
Well,
guns and
ask me
bullets.
what I did.
What did you do? Tell me.
I got chickens.
Honestly, it's not a bad idea, and I know that you were talking about it for like a while,
I
and
had thought about it for a while. Like, because like I said, my parents, they have so many different fruit trees, the big garden and everything. I've kind of thought about getting chickens, but at the same time, I was like, man, I really don't want to like mess with that. It seemed like too much of a hassle. But
Mhm.
then I think it was like maybe I don't even know if we had been put on quarantine yet. I think some of the people had been panic buying and that kind of thing. So this was probably like early March. Just going to the grocery store to get a few things, and I was noticing like the eggs being lower and lower each time that I went. And I was like, you know what? I was like, work is like slowing down tremendously. I got a lot of free time on my hand. Let me like look into doing this. And so built the chicken coop, then went and started shopping for chickens and everything. Ended up, I now have 6 chickens, 2 that are laying and 4 that should be laying within about the next 5 months or whatever. I've been
Where does one buy chickens?
so I went. There's lots of different places. Apparently, the problem is finding low amounts of chickens. If you want chickens, like most places will ship chickens. Doesn't like wherever you're at, they will ship chickens to you, but they want to do orders of like 10 to 100. I did not want 100 chickens. So there's a place called Tractor Supply that's near us that they have like all kinds of feed and seed for all kinds of farm animals and stuff like that. Well, they have baby chickens, baby geese, baby ducks, and all this that you can go and buy. And so once I got the coop built and everything, I went out and bought a few, and it's been awesome. I have loved it so much. I feel like a farmer every morning walking out to the chicken coop and, you know, tossing some feed out and seeing if I need to patch any holes in the fence and collecting the eggs and all that kind of stuff. I'm having a blast.
Chicken farmer over here. But I mean, you get your return on that if you eat the eggs, and spoiler alert, if you eat the chickens, you're self-sufficient there, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, hopefully I never have to eat the chickens. I don't plan on that. I have grown to love them like pets now. But I had 4 eggs throughout the day today from
yeah,
my chickens.
it's pretty
Like
awesome.
I've been stacking up and stacking up. We typically get 1 to 2 eggs per day. And then like I said, come 5 months from now, I'll be getting anywhere from 4 to 6 eggs per day. Like
It's
it's going to
awesome.
be intense.
It's pretty.
And then I just switched to a pure egg diet, and I will save so much money on
So much money.
groceries.
You're just eggs, everything. Egg omelets,
Just doing a quiche
egg.
here and an omelet
Yeah,
here and a breakfast burrito here. And yeah, I'm ready to go.
I
I'm
like it.
so ready.
So that honestly, so that begs the question of what does life look like for everybody, in your opinion, after this? So say next month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it might be, when everything is like, all right, the last case, the last person that has coronavirus is either, cured or is passed on, whatever it might be, it's over, etc. What happens? What does the world look like? What does the daily life look like?
That's going to be the weirdest thing. I don't know. Like as far as you have so many businesses right now, small businesses, people that have just opened a small business in, a strip mall, whatever, a restaurant, and they're having to apply for small business loans from the government because basically their business is going under within a month or a year of them having it or whatever.
Right.
So what does that mean to all the new people after this is over that want to go out and start a business? Is it going to be harder for them to start because so many like got crushed, during this? And then you're talking about like the different businesses that are going to be thriving because of this. You're seeing different ones like the Amazon delivery, the Shipt that's delivering groceries, and every place, every grocery store now has a way to get groceries delivered directly to you. So you're going to see, I think, a lot more of those type businesses start popping up to kind of make life like that. I could say, me personally, I am more of an introvert. That's why I have chickens. And like, how do I
You can
want to
get
put
you
this?
can get everything
Like,
online. You don't need to
yeah,
go anywhere.
my life hasn't changed too much, and I don't really care if it changes too much past this. Like I'm I've been doing really good like with all this stuff. Like I mean, yes, work has slowed down a little bit, but at the same time it's inspired me to also look at other avenues of making money, like in this type of world, in this type of industry and everything that's going on now. Like how can I make money during a quarantine, like when I'm not able to go out and do my normal job, or if you get laid off or something like that. Like it's made me start looking at these different areas to be able to, I mean, I'm not saying that I will never go out in public again, but I don't I don't feel the need to as much as what I feel like I used to.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, you find out that you can be self-sufficient. You can still enjoy life. You can still hang out with friends. You can still do things that you were doing anyway. So, I mean, I talk about it all the time. Most of my like friends are long distance.
Yeah.
Like they're not around
They're
here that I
virtual.
can, like I can go, like I can't go and hang out with you anytime I want, as sucky as that might be.
Yeah, that would be a big thing. I would definitely want to. I want to go to the beach.
Yeah,
and visit
right. But
you.
like, well, sure. I mean, that's depending on when they open. Well, I think they open the beaches today.
Yeah,
for partial capacity or whatever. But just in general, right? Like, if my friends are virtual, not much changes for me after. You know what I mean? Like after everything opens up, like
my daily
okay,
life was fairly similar.
yeah, it's going to be it's very, which is what I said at the beginning. Like some people just how you interact with people might change when you interact with them, etc. But just in general, some people it's going to just continue to seem very similar. Other people it's going to be very drastic, going back to the way it was. But I think overall, like I was saying, there's going to be the lasting effects that we see. There's plenty of businesses that are going to just boom, kick it right back up. They're going to be completely fine. Movie theaters, malls, places like that where people just like to go just to be, right?
Mall, the loitering,
right? A movie theater. I hope that people still exercise and enjoy parks and the outdoors as much as they are right now, because that's one thing that I've seen. It's so funny to me that because everybody's being told to stay home, so many more people are like, nope, not going to do that.
Gonna
go run down the street. I've never ran in my life, but here we go. And that's great. Like if you can get out and get exercising, like whatever, do it. I have a problem whenever they are like out running and like they're coughing and sweating on each other like 2 feet apart because it's just so crowded.
Yeah,
they're like we're at the park, we're getting exercise. Also, there's 6,000 of us here. Whoa, like there's no reason for that. But I hope that continues. I don't think it will, but I hope it does. But like airlines, they're going to be fine.
I would think so.
Major electronic retailers, Apple, Samsung, LG, like all these, like they're going to go right back to making their stuff because the supply and the demand. I think that procedure wise for airports, airplanes, that's going to be a little different. You're going to see a lot more cleaning and a lot more just
that makes
people
sense.
giving you weird looks if you're coughing or sneezing. You know what I mean? Like what, don't you dare kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, again, a lot of like mid-range retailers are going to experience a lot of fallout from this. Again, if you find out that you can order things online for the same price or cheaper in a lot of cases, why do you need to go to the store? Like, what is the purpose? You're wasting gas, you're wasting your time, you're interacting with people when you can do the same thing without all three of those things that I mentioned. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
And the only people that still will are going to be like, they're going to be the group of people that go, oh, well, I just like dealing with a human. I like dealing with a person. Like my mom would be in that case. She's not going to want to order anything online. She wants to go buy it from somebody, talk to somebody in person. And that's fine. There's still going to be those people, but the general traffic, when you already have seen a decline in retail sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
Retail buying has already been on decline for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years because of online shopping, because you can get better deals, right? And now we were forced into only doing that. So you have people that didn't know how to do it before that do now. They're only going to be that now that they're indoctrinated to it, they're only going to be given that choice, and they're going to be able to go, well, I did it before. Why not I do it? I do it again. I can just order it from here.
Yeah.
Big deal. I'm going to go on that Amazon site and just order it from there. It's like that hurts general business in the long run. The only good thing, as far as like food goes, is that the food industry is just going to be popping. I mean, restaurant business, people going out to eat.
Oh, they're packed.
Oh, man.
Cinco de Mayo, like every place is packed tonight.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, and then also you'll see your cases of coronavirus go way up tomorrow. But yeah, just in general, right? Like everybody's going to want to go out to eat and be out eating places because we all figured out that Uber Eats is a huge ripoff. That's one thing that everybody realized. Even with like, oh, well, free local delivery. Bro, even with free local delivery, I tried to get something to work one time. It was a $9 burrito. Through Uber Eats with free delivery, they tried to charge me $16 for a $9 burrito. I was like, wait, where's this math? They charge you a service fee. They charge you a small order fee. They charge you tax. Then you got a tip. It's like, wait, I thought there was no delivery fee. It's a $9 burrito.
Crazy.
How did I get to $16? And they're like, I don't know. That's math, bro. It's like, oh my gosh. So hopefully things like that, even though Uber Eats is a convenience and I've used it plenty and I've used it way too much in the past, like hopefully something like that, it's going to be like we don't need to do that. There's just no need. There's no need to do that. Because it takes like 2 seconds. You can drive to the place and pick it up. Most places now have like curbside pickup, have, they'll like bring it out to your car. You don't even have to go in to get it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see the general fallout from all of this. I just want to conclude as far as like the coronavirus goes that I hope everybody's that listens to this, that is out there, is staying safe, practicing your social distancing and mask wearing, hand washing procedures. Just stay away from people. Just don't go people. We don't even like people in general. Like, just don't get near them. It's fine. You'll be fine. And once it all blows over, we can all meme about it for the next year. The next 2 years, we can meme about it. But for now, I hope you're staying safe through it, and you're kind of maintaining your sanity. It's been hard for me to not work.
Yeah.
Like I was working and I was complaining because I was just like, I don't want to be on the front lines. I don't want to get this for, a measly, $4 commission off of XYZ. Like I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But now I'm at home and I'm like, I can only apply for so many jobs per day before I want to get coronavirus. And
I know.
But yeah, I did want to kind of transition though into 2020 continues to just throw us curveballs as Florida is headed towards hurricane season. Up north, there's a strain of bee called the murder hornet that's entering the country. And for those of you that don't know, it sounds really bad. Like, okay, murder hornets are going to come like kill us all. And that's what all the memes are all about. It's like, oh, now we got killer bees. It actually has nothing really to do with us as much as it is. Well, it does indirectly, though. It's not like these murder hornets are coming to like murder us.
Yes.
Right? Like they're
Correct.
They're not killer bees as far as like humans are concerned. Although they're massive, and if you got stung with one, I'm sure it would be pretty painful and it would probably be pretty bad. However, they're after honeybees, and they literally can destroy an entire colony hive of honeybees, which if you're not familiar, are vital to the pollination of our Earth.
Yes.
Like honeybees are super important, and
Yes.
they've already been in the decline. They're already like headed towards threatening levels of life cycle, and now we have these giant hornets that are literally like the size of like your palm going in and like destroying honeybee colonies.
Yeah.
It's like, can we just have like 1 second? Can we just get a month of break from the craziness of this year?
I don't know. Then it just wouldn't be 2020.
That's true. I just want somebody to put the Jumanji game back. Because whoever is playing it is getting some really bad rolls.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know, man. It's just tough because something like that. What do you do about that? You're gonna go out with like tennis rackets and just start batting around these murder hornets? Like, how do you protect the honeybees?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea how you deal with situations like that.
I feel like any attempt to like kill them, thwart them, whatever, poison them would result in a lot of other things happening and going wrong too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have to think so. I have no idea how you deal with invasive species. Like,
I don't know.
yeah.
Aren't we an invasive species? Hey,
Yeah.
look, I've always said this from a long time ago. Humanity in general, when given the chance to do the right thing, they will inevitably do the wrong thing. Okay, and we are and will continue to be our own worst enemy in every situation that pops up. We just can't. We can't do the right thing as a whole. There's plenty of people that want to. There's plenty of people that proposition for the right thing, that that support the right thing. But you can't fix stupid. And I will end I will end our return episode, our return level. And the final boss of level 47, okay, is a gentleman that I encountered while in Walmart. Okay, so I went to Walmart last week, my weekly grocery run, got my mask on, got my hat on, walking in the store. They have all the aisles marked with a one way with the arrows. This is the direction for this aisle, and it's down the next, and it's up that one. Right? You keep all 6 feet from each person. It's marked.
Easy peasy.
So I go in, super easy. You don't even have to read. Like, you don't even have to know English, honestly, because you can just look at the arrows. Like, arrows are very simple. They're universal. It shows you the direction to go. So I walk in, first aisle. I'm headed up. I'm grabbing something. I look down. I look up. There's somebody headed towards me down the aisle. Okay. So my first thought is, who is this clown that can't read the arrows on the floor? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going towards him, and you know me, I'm not moving.
Yes.
Like, I'm not getting out of the way. You're going down the wrong way. If we were in cars and I was going up a one-way street, the right direction, and you were coming down, I wouldn't move. I would have you back up and go around the other way because you made the mistake. It's your fault. So he's coming at me. And as he gets closer, I notice he's wearing a t-shirt with some writing on it. And if this isn't the most ironic t-shirt that I have ever seen in any circumstance ever, my man going down the wrong way during the coronavirus pandemic in a Walmart wearing a t-shirt that says, "You can't fix stupid." And I had a mask on, but I literally laughed out loud.
Yeah.
And I don't think he knew that I was laughing at him. But as he got closer, he kind of like pulled his card off to the side and kind of just like gave me a shrug of like, sorry, I'm in the way.
Yeah.
But like, he's wearing a shirt that describes him so perfectly. And I think that that's really where the irony is, because I don't think he was wearing it for himself. I think that he's
Oh
just
yeah.
he's just wearing it, just because, oh, look at me. I got all these stupid people around me. I'm just a level above all of them.
Yeah.
And that's it. That sums up my experience with the general population of the world, of Florida in general, obviously where I am. But that wraps up my experience with the coronavirus and the pandemic. That's right. Like, I really have nothing else. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
But
don't know. I'm sure we'll find something eventually and bring it back to this. I mean, it was literally for a month and a half. I think every small talk conversation I had with somebody was about the coronavirus. Like, it was either about like this new study or this thing happening in this place, or this death count, or that, whatever. Like, I finally have been able to kind of get away from it and have discussions about other things. It's been so on top of everyone's mind lately.
yeah, I don't know. I would like to come back to a few different issues in the future.
Yeah.
The validity of the origins, the cover ups, etc. The more conspiracy, not that it doesn't exist, because we all know it exists,
Mm-hmm.
but just in general, like how it started and what we could have done better, and what the government hid, what the Chinese government hid, et cetera, because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of reports of falsification of numbers and death counts and all kinds of stuff like that, which would be cool. So maybe we'll revisit that in the future. I'd also like to come back to the morality of stealing in the time of need, right?
Yeah.
So that would be something that can be super cool to talk about. But that's going to wrap up level 47 of the brand new bonus level podcast. And if you're still here, if you're still listening, thank you very much for rejoining us as we start season 4 of the show moving forward. Again, you can expect a new episode every week. You can find us on Twitter at what? What's our Twitter handle?
I don't know.
It's at bonus level podcast, not spelled out with level though. So bonus level LVL podcast.
That
How
sounds
do I
right.
how do I know that? And then you're the one that runs it.
Because you never see it. I just hit retweet all the time.
That's true. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, Castbox. This episode and others, the rest of them are all up on iTunes and Google Play.
Yeah.
And then in the future, maybe Spotify. We'll see. But if you have any questions, you want to be on the show, send us an email, send us a message on Instagram or Twitter. And if you have a topic in mind, we'd love to have you on. So just send us a message. Stay safe. Stay 6 feet apart. And wash them hands.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Later, taters. 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 Taters.